got no reason to stay. I got no name to call. Here at the end of days, but I wish it mattered at all. How are we? Alright. So, I thought about putting this under music, but I mean, it's more of a blog than anything, so I don't know if anybody will watch that. But I think people tune in and drop out, so, whatever. If you tune in and stay in, thank you for watching. I've noticed that some of the views have gone up, like, sometimes days after. So, hopefully these are entertaining in some way. Even just watching someone be fucking dumb as shit. So, no, man, I've just been watching things unfold. And it's been crazy. Like, something about today. There goes another one. Something about today I can't explain. But I was hanging out with my mom. We went and caught a movie. It was, have you seen The Amateur? It was actually a pretty good movie. It had Rami Malek. It's a pretty good movie. Made me wonder if they're going to be like, a secondary, because it's just the amateur. It's going to be like the novice, the whatever, the journeyman, and then eventually the professional. Actually, there's one called The Professional. Maybe this is like his ride, how he got to that part. That'd be interesting if without announcing they're doing a prequel. That'd be pretty cool. Prelogy. I guess that'd be a trilogy that comes before a prelogy. So, doing that, and got home, got back here, and was watching YouTube. And there was Trump's 100 Days in Office. I don't know why this one struck me. I mean, I'd heard it, I heard people that were coming up on the 100 days, whatever, but I just nothing really grabbed me about it until like today. It was like, today was his 100th day. And then that Mark Lanigan song came in, and somewhere, ship comes in every day. I was like, oh shit, yeah, 100 days, you wait for it. Come January, I swear this world won't be the one that we once lived on. It hasn't been since January, has it? He never said which January. I've been watching for which January, in case because he was shooting to death's door. Did he see something? Did he cross over a couple of times? The one that he did recently, Judgment Time. She said, it's a time of judgment. I'm rolling holy down a dirty river. Lord, I was blistered, just a strung out angel. Mark Lanigan. He was like the one that made it through the longest of Those hardcore guys. As far as I know. I don't know if there's any other ones. I mean, I can't think of anybody else. I mean, Scott's gone. Kurt's gone. Lane's gone. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know, man. The end can't be far away. I mean, Trump went so far as to say that his first term, he was running the United States and trying to survive. Now, in his second term, he's running the United States and the world because he's trying to save the world. And blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I was like, motherfucker, Jesus Christ, God sent Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Jesus, to save the world. You don't have to save shit, you narcissistic piece of fuck. Matter of fact, everything that's happening is exactly as written, and Donald Trump is the goddamn Antichrist. Donald Johann Drumpf. When you understand that, like I said, information is just energy. They say knowledge is power. Information is just energy. Concentrated energy, right? It's a packet of energy, a packet of knowledge. That's what information is. It's not until you put that information into your brain and then you have the facts of what that is. But then it's only when you can apply that can you actually be ingenuitive and start tweaking things. I mean, you can know 2 plus 2 equals 4 all day long. And when anyone asks you 2 plus 2 is 4, but what do you do with that? I don't know. What if you had another one? I don't know. I know 2 plus 2 is 4. You know what I mean? There's no way to extrapolate new information from that. If you're processing right, the if-thens automatically start falling into place when they tell you something. You know? Problem is, I did that a little too well, especially as a kid. And it just bugged the shit out of teachers. The thing is, these were actually really smart questions. They're really good questions. They just didn't have the answer, because as you find out later on, no one does. We're all just making this shit up. So school, I mean, while it is primary school stuff, you know what I mean, it's basic fundamentals. That's just a basic fundamental that we agree on. How light travels, how sound travels, all that shit. Oh, they've done science, have they? I haven't seen any of the experiments. I've seen some of the tests of some things like on Mythbusters and stuff. And then the math works out. I'm not saying it doesn't do that, but second law of motion, equal and opposite reaction. So whatever is causing the reaction you're observing, there's the way that you're describing it, and if you get to the right answer, then you have to at least contemplate that an equal and opposite version of that could have done that too. The example I use is, like I said, the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs. Well, let's give it a second. What's the equal and opposite of that? How do you have a reverse asteroid? Supervolcano. Several supervolcanoes. It makes sense that the temperature was warmer back in those days, especially if the creatures were cold-blooded. But I saw an interesting thing. There's not very many of them left. There's a kind of a mammal, and it's got fucking armor scales like a lizard. It's fucking crazy. I can't remember what the name of it was. They're kind of an endangered thing. But it's just walking. It's just like this plated, like, fucking thing, man. It's crazy. It's got like these dragon scale type things on it, but it is a fucking mammal. I saw, I was like, oh, what kind of lizard is that? You know, and because it's just armored everywhere. And like, it's amazingly, this mammal, I'm like, mammal? Is that a chainmail suit he's wearing over his fur? What the fuck is going on? Oh, we got some platypus shit happening. A lizard got kinky with a goddamn little tiny chihuahua or some shit, and here we got the fucking. You know what I mean? And God was like, I kind of like it. I'm gonna let that one go. Mixing a horse and a donkey, that's just perverse. You're just sick now. You're just trying to make them do that. Or you're poor and you have a donkey and a, you know. We can make some honkies, some dorses. Dorses or honkies? Which one do you want? Yeah. And that makes a good insult. You know, if you're gonna call someone a honky for that, like you're half horse, half donkey, you're a jackass. That makes sense. If that's what they meant, they're like, bravo for being able to, like, you know, like that's some modern rap cut down shit. Rap battle shit. Oh, think about it. You'll get it in a little while. Honky. I mean, it was like a horse and a donkey. Bing, 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 bing. Like, where'd you come from? It's been 4 days. Oh, I've been waiting out here for you to get this shit. And then what do we call a horse and a donkey? Oh, you motherfucker. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, you got it now. I'm going back home. So was it 20 miles that way? Yeah, I'm good. Honky. I'm half honky. It's okay. I can say it. Had some H words hanging outside the high school, if you know what I mean. And they were ruffians. They look like ruffians, really. I thought about calling them police, but I don't know. Hooligans. That's what they look like. They look like they were a gang. They were all dressed the same, and they had like armor on. Most of them had helmets, so I think they're planning like some kind of gang attack on. Apparently, on another, they had a turf war between their turf and someone else's turf, and apparently they're not playing this time. They're kicking ass. They got a whole chant going. They brainwashed them girls to wear next to nothing and go out there and cheer them on. And get the audience all horned up, you know what I mean? So that way they're not paying really attention to the game, so that way they can, you know, get away as much shit as they can on the field. And or horn up the other team, you know, so that they're all horned up. Never mind that they brought their own to do the same thing. It's like, you know, great minds think alike, you know. Oh shit, you brought your own pack of. Oh, okay. Damn it, I thought I was gonna get you at that. But can yours do this? No, but ours can do this. Is that a triple flip basket catch? Bring it on, bitch. Gonna make me bust out a triple Lindy on your ass. What do you know about triple Lindy? Anything about triple Lindy? I'm not surprised. So, is anyone out there? I don't know, I'm thinking about playing some drums or something. Maybe some guitar. I don't know, I've got like a lot of shit to say, but I've said so much and like recently, I don't know if I should even bother. And I don't think we got much time left anyways, you know? So far, I mean, what I've seen, the book's been right, unless, you know, there's just a big grand conspiracy, which in case, then there should be a real hope that brighter minds can't make something out of nothing. Sometimes they can. He who says a trap shall fall into it. I'm torn between telling them about my stints in mental facilities, skateboarding stories, playing guitar, um, play some more music. You know what? I'm gonna at least promote some Ars Artem here, man. It's already out there, and you may already know about it. But Blue Effects, proud to bring you. Coming March of 2025, Blue Effect Records is proud to bring you Ars Artem 2, featuring Robotic Hawks, Pariah Jones, McKenna, The Stern 76, Mr. Vertigo, Hello Echo, Bird Shadows, Ian James, Mike and Jonas Langley, and other songs such as Shades of Moon, which has been playing under this the whole time. Ars Artem 2, available March 2025. So, I give my 25 cents. This keeps going down in price every time I play it. It doesn't go up in price, so eventually it goes to... Was that a bad deal? I think that's a bad deal. My checks from the past are starting to come in. But it's a whole transition from negative money to positive money. It's fucking weird. It's a whole... I'm starting to think it's a scam. But, I mean, they paid for the spot, so... Had to promote Negative Time, you know? Negative Time, are you late? No, you're not. For all your Negative Time needs, see Negative Time. Negative Time. How could things be placed where they are if there wasn't Negative Time? Oh, and then we have our other sponsor, the GTS database, which I don't know if I have that. Let's see if this, what's a GTS database? Can't find it. Oh well. I'll have to find it some other time. We're live, man. We can't spend no time doing that. And this would be a boring show if it's been all time just, you know, trying to find one thing. Or like cleaning a pipe. Getting stoned all day. That would just be fucking boring as Heisenbergs. Speaking of Heisenbergs, That was a good show. I love shows that are like that. I mean, like Breaking Bad, like when you have like the first like 15 minutes, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like this. Um, Within the first 15 minutes, I feel like, I mean, if I haven't been hit with something like that I did not expect, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's nice. I'm usually pretty checked out because I know I can just. That's the thing that the show I saw today. There was, I mean, it kept my interest because it was kind of action packed and stuff, whatever. But there are a couple of things I didn't buy about it. But there, it's like it's missing a scene or two to solidify, you know, the. But I can understand from a story standpoint, you kind of in a predicament, you know, because you have to choose like what you surprise people with and when and how. Same thing with like music. It's all about timing. Um, as you're writing, you need to be able to pace it in a way that is neither too like, you know, if you do too much action, the reader gets fatigued. If it's too much slow, you get fatigued. So you have to like kind of jog and then walk, then you know brisk run, then maybe just crawl for a little bit, you know, just a short bit, and get up and walk, which will seem faster, and then kind of again jogging again. Every now and then sprint for a bit. Vary it up so it doesn't get like formulaic, you know. Because like, you know, even when with music, it all breaks down to verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Those are the main two things. Then if there's a bridge, there's a bridge, but or a breakdown or whatever. But then it usually comes back into like either a verse or a chorus. It depends usually if there's like a guitar solo. If there's not, then there'll be like a verse that just has a guitar solo over it. If you listen, almost always goes like that. And then they may have one chorus. They play the chorus twice. One chorus where the guitar solo is still going, and then one chorus where they come back and sing and at the song. You know, there's little small patterns. You start singing songs, and that's why I started breaking those things like at a very young age, trying to do things different. Like I said, I noticed that choruses were very sing-songy, and so I kept the feel of the sing song. I sang similarly, you know, but I just changed the words up a bit. It still had the same flow and pattern and everything, but it always seemed to me like you're just kind of robbing the audience of song, you know. You're just copying that one part and pasting it over here. Long before copy and paste, you're just memorizing that one piece, and that people in the audience can. I just misconstrued how much the audience likes that. You know, just being able that familiarity of those breaks in there. It's like for years I actively protested it. You know, I just wouldn't do sing-songy choruses at all. Um, Again, I mean, it had the same sing-songy feel. It just had different lyrics, and I guess people are like, I'm not learning that much fucking music, guys. That's too many lyrics to learn. Shorten it down. Does anybody know how the story really goes? How the story really goes? Do we all just hum along? I thought about doing one of these called Words of Wisdom from the Dead, and just go some of my favorite like quotes from my favorite singers and musicians and shit. You know, whether it was in song lyrics or, you know, something they said in an interview, a book. You know, in Lanigan's case, I read his book, and it's pretty fucked up. Like I said, it gave me the freedom to do what I wrote in The Robber and the Thief, because mine was tame compared to what he. Pardon me. Everybody has their different views on what's too far, and so I felt like I pushed a little bit too far for me, but I felt it was still in somewhat good taste. I kept it. What I felt like was in good taste. And no, nothing like sexual graphic. I mean, not in this one. I have some more stuff in the Keep Christarian. There's some stuff in there. God, and it already. I was telling my uncle about it at Thanksgiving. He was asking what I was doing, and if I was writing. I'm like, I just explained to him how the Keep Christerian is a multi-choice novel. It's it's going to be about 180,000 words, and I'm at 128,000. I've got two of the what I call the golden endings to finish, and then I've got some trimming, some edges to trim, and make it sculpted up. There's like some loose ends that are not quite. They weren't going to go to the golden ending anyway, so they're just loose threads. I got to imagine. Every time you could choose something that's not correct, I imagine you opening a door to another. Like Matrix. You open the door and it's still the same house, but like the house is completely different on the other side of that door. Does that make sense? The floor plan, like you come in this one room here, and by the time you get to that door to open it, there's this one scene where they go to this crypt, and it's all set up this one way, and how I envisioned it for the whatever. And on another story arc, they end up in the same thing. I was about to go back and forth and try and describe it, exactly word for word, so there's no plot holes. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a whole different tangent. It's not going to the end. Why not make an entirely new universe? And so I'd set it up entirely different. It had like a weird puzzle thing going on this time. It was really cool. Um, I think it's a really cool book. But that's one of the reasons why I think it's probably the best thing I've written, and probably will be the best thing I'll ever write. So I have the Robber and the Thief out now. Then the Underwoods will come out, because that's gonna be a bit disappointing. Um, I want it to be that way, because it's more of a thinker than anything else, because it's gonna be the complete. The Underwoods inside says the complete workings and knowledge of Shunemazine, and I want it to be kind of like life is. The first part of it is told through his own eyes, he's telling the story, his journals and stuff. And once he becomes king of the Underwoods, he's just too busy doing stuff, and so he has a truth seer cleric that joins, named Zedril, and he starts keeping. And even though he's a truth seer, you think he'd be more honest, but because he was that close with Shuna, and it'd be like walking with MLK. You kind of keep certain things discreet. And that's how things get blurred, and people start thinking that you're more than what you are, and you're just a person like anybody else. And then the last one is it's gonna start with, actually it's gonna go. I don't know the exact order how I want it to be, but I wanted to kind of leave off with the just the cold stony plaque. He asked that no statues be made of him, because people really liked him. He helped save Argus. He helped to rebuild Argus by emptying their coffers out and completely giving it to the clerics, which the clerics sent an envoy to find out why he would do a gift like that. The arms that he sells, what had made him, Argus is one of his biggest buyers. They really didn't use money in the Underwoods anyway, so he just had tons of money anyways from selling arms to basically everybody in Unia. The earthen wood that was unbreakable starts becoming like their home, so it can't be burned down or anything like that, because the fire doesn't do anything to it. Axes and shit don't do anything to it, and there's like huge brambles on the outside. So there's like a big trees in the center, like black barkless trees with purple iridescent leaves, and there's like shrubbery and hedges, in varying height, going out to the whatever. It should stand about a little bit over this high, because he cuts a maze through those. He starts going in like, wait, hang on. He cuts it wide enough so that like basically single file. If you're gonna come into the Underwoods, you have to come in single file. And every time he gets like where he's thinking like, why the fuck am I doing this? He decides like they'll probably think the same thing. So he decides to take like a left turn. If you take the left, it kind of takes you right back outside. So it's mentally about the time you're thinking, what the fuck? I don't know if I'm ever gonna get out of here. Right turn, right. Yeah, you're right. And you can see the exit, and like, shit. Do I go back further into the maze or do I get the fuck out of here? I was just thinking, I don't know if I'll ever get out of here. And so it goes like that through the front, and then when it does, it finally opens up and it makes a barrel, like a basically as they come out, they can come in. Even they'd have to probably walk a horse. They're probably riding a horse down, but like single file. So if you had an army, they'd have to all come in single file. And once they do, there's like this literal bottleneck. It's like the gates are there, and it's made of that impenetrable wood. They have a fence around the whole thing, so you're not getting around that way. And then there's like this open area that can host a couple hundred people, but you're just sitting targets. So they have people in the trees, the guards in the trees and stuff around that just can look down and fucking unload all day. And if you try to get out, then you have to go single file, one at a time out the thing to get out. Magic, hot oil, whatever they fucking do. Boulders, whatever they do. So you show up with, a white flag, or basically you die, But I should probably bring up the map somewhere. Let's see if I have a copy. I should. It'd probably be under text documents text on the desktop. Text. Writing. Unia ideas. Okay, second era. How big is it? Okay, that's not big at all. Let me go ahead and bring this over here. So I can zoom in. There we go. Ow. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so this is like the whole of Unia. I got Wint, the continent over here. In Unia, the sun rises in the north. Rises in the south and sets in the north. If you were to have an Earth compass, it would be east to west, but you'd be the only one with a compass that read that. Everybody on Unia's map compass would read that the sun is setting in the north and rising in the south. That's just the way it is. So Wint is, although it looks like it's more at the equator, it's actually more towards the top, and that's when it's fairly cold. But they have like the little people of the Benel River complex. I'll zoom into that. Yeah, so like the halflings and little people that live in the Benel River complex, they're right there. And there's another group of people that live over here in the Twin Waters. But there was a creature that stalked Wint for like 300 years. But when you can see that they would once fit together. It was more of a river. I can actually show the first era if I can find it. I have one. 1 second. First era. Okay, so this is what they look like in the first era. I gotta take some of the Bethrin. They weren't there. They were in the Hollow Mountain over here, Turlock Mimna. But it wasn't called that. It was called the Butriel Mountains. So it's called Butriev. That goes all the way up here to Milta. The Northic people have a very similar life to the Dwarvish people, and so a lot of their stuff crosses over. But they're human, and they're like hard workers. They don't believe in magic and or thieving, and neither do the dwarves. And they're a bit shorter. You know what I mean? So like the Dwarvish women like the less crude human guys, and the Dwarvish guys like the submissive women, and then the submissive women like these big they fucking dig in the fucking mountain all day. You know what I mean? They're just fucking tough. They drink like a motherfucker, but then also the guys like the chicks because they come out and they're like they know all the beer drinking songs and they drink harder than the guys do. So and then what's just a normal thing, they get like tons of attention. You know what I mean? And so the things are crossing over. But Milta, their word for their shit is Bethrin, which means home amongst the hills. And for the dwarves, the Butrial Mountains, theirs is Butriev, which means home within the mountain, because they actually dig inside. So it's almost the same word. So when the Hala Mountain, when that Tulakmimna, when it collapsed, and became Tulakmimna, but after this was the Butrial Mountains, and this is the Moraprin Mountains. You got Salacious Solace and Pork Dunes Folly, Fountains of Fortune. But yeah, when it collapsed, it became known as the Hollow Mountain. They just dug too much, and eventually, like the peak summit, kind of just collapsed in, which triggered. They have a defense mechanism around the treasury to bury it, so that no one can get to it, and they can dig their. They're diggers, so they can just dig in. You know what I mean? And it would take no time for them, but no one could get to their treasure if someone set off the trap, and so they dug too high, and that caused a collapse that triggered another collapse. So it was over this grand hall, and just, the whole roof just fell through. And yeah, now a dragon lives up in there. Well, during the first era, and this is the first era. So there's a lot, so they should come out. Like these are just rivers. This is the Resin River. This is the Great North River because it's the largest river in Unia. And this one will eventually be called the Galton Mall. I don't have a name for that one right now, and this didn't even have. It was just a river that came down. Then let me see if I can go to the right size. Let's do about 25. Okay, and then we'll try and get the other picture if I can get that one. What's that? No, not that. What are you doing? Oh, you're scanning for images like it. No, I don't want to do that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop doing what you're doing. I don't know. I'm gonna close it out. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't switch left and right, but yeah, this is now it's like the Galton Maw. They spread open like the rivers were as wide as like say like the Congo, the Nile. Then they doubled in size with the creation of the maws. This is the tame maw because it's got traffic on both. Because Argus is so big, there's so much traffic coming to and from the inland sea that eventually a deposit goes down the middle. So, but it's two rivers the size of the Congo merged together just under the water line. There's a little barricade. So it does have two channels going over the time, because there's so much. Like Argus already crossed the Resin River, then the collapse, and then had to rebuild. And when they did rebuild, it was even bigger, which drew even more people. And there was just so much traffic coming and going through the locks and dams and stuff that just, like I said, just through hundreds of years, just the deposits as it's swirling up all this water, just eventually, because they're going to and from, eventually just settled in the middle, slowly but surely, and became like, this little separator. Two 30-mile wide rivers with this little island in the middle. I mean, like a little strip in the middle, making two different currents. Galton goes down, the Galton Mall goes down to Galton. Galen was his younger brother. He wanted to start here and bridge like the way Argus jumps off the islands, and he suggested they try and do it here. And he's like, "Fuck that! I want to be on." He wanted to be the Argus of the West, so he kept going, and they found the boundless depths, which is salty water. And so they thought they went back up enough from the river enough to, but it wasn't. It was, I mean, this side of Galton just rusts and corrodes with salt. This side is still kind of, decent looking, but yeah. There's so much to this fucking story. This is the continent of wrestling. Vaja is the home of the High Elves, the Dane. And then there's the Underwoods. The maze would be in this area here, and you'd have to come down like he built a road that comes down here, and then goes up and all the way up through here. So once you're on that, you're just kind of like, he calls it the Great King's Road, and they call it the Great King's Road, and because it's a very nice, compared to the wilderness, it's a very nice paved area. And I'm like, I mean, it is to welcome you in. But Argus has a similar type thing. As you pull up, it comes from this way in Arcs. There's a road that arcs this way, and then it goes to like different towns. One goes through there, one comes back this way towards Morrington, along the coast. And Morrington is where the story takes place, where it starts out. And there's like tons of towns like this. There's hundreds of towns like that. There's several on this river here. There's several on this river here, but they're from here. So like just going down this area really just wasn't even. I mean, because what are you gonna do? Go to another little shit small? I mean, you got your own hick town to deal with. Why go to another fucking little small hick town? The craziest thing is when we went to the family reunion this year. The place it was stationed at, I should probably look that up and see if I can find it. But it was a campground, a YMCA campground, and I was coming out of for breakfast one morning out of the cabin, and I'm at the far end, and as I'm looking down the row at everything, I looked and I realized if you made the roofs like thatched, you know what I mean, and changed the motif of the buildings just a little bit because they were all wood. It was Morrington. It was a mirror image. It wasn't on the right side. But as I was walking, I was like, okay, that because the main character's farm is around here in this area, up above Morrington, like right around here. And so like where I was staying at should have been like there's like it was like a, you know what I mean, whatever. And so as I was walking, I was like, okay, if this is really was, I turned, I was like, there should be, and I looked back this way, and that's where they had their horse stables. It was fucking crazy. It was nuts. I've got video of all the shit because it was so inspirational. I walked through the woods for like an hour just to get like footage, so I could, if I was gonna write some more, if I'm ever writing like traveling through the woods, I have like and I had my backpack on and stuff. I had my guitar on, sorry, and then I had my pockets had a pipe and two strains of pod in an Altoid tin. So I was walking, it's making this very clanky. It sounded like I had a bunch of gear on me, and I had like the backpack on. I mean the guitar on in a back strap, and so I just felt like I had like this camping gear. It was fucking dope, man. It was crazy. But yeah, the Bygone Sea. It was. I don't know if the other one, the one I had before Creed was this way. It was actually turned 90 degrees. Let's see if I can find the first air map. See how Creed is turned. But that's why it's the Bygone Sea. The whole thing just shifted and went like that. Christerion is the mage. He started to tear this one open when he was killed. He was tearing this one apart to he would make the moss wider. So yeah. But yeah, they killed him. And this is Burrell, continent of Burrell. The only big city in Burrell is Burrell. And this is Onyx Peaks. They're just very simple people. This doesn't even have a name. It's just called the water because it's only body of fresh water there. The water streams down into Burrell and around the backside of the mountain. And Burrell is down here. And they used to call this the Cape of Regret because beyond there, there's just really, the water just keeps on going. As far as they know, as far as they've been able to go out. You know what I mean? And then there's the Resin Isles. That's where the pirate community gathers. Thereth's Harbor, Fazlin's Fishery, and Fazlin's Ocean. And then it became Fotrin's Fountains when all the money dried up. Instead of Fountains of Fortune, it became Fotrin's Fountain. That's the original guy. His name was Fotrin, but he changed it. He wanted to be like, you gotta make a fortune. It sounded better, so he went with Fortune, Fountains of Fortune. And when it dried up, they're like, yeah, no, it's Fotrin's Fountains. Yeah, the Mournful Mount, they cover that in the story. Basically, everywhere that's showing on here, places that they go, in the book. They don't ever make it to Gyres, and they don't make it over here, which is interesting. That like why is it there? There's a reason why he has those there, and it's not mentioned in the book because it's not the last. It's not his last book. So it's the introduction to Unia, and there are four core tales. There's the Robber and the Thief, the Underwoods, Keep Christerian, and It Came and Went. Those are the four core Unia tales. There are two more stories in the main character from the Robber and the Thief's story, and I've got a ton of other stories to go in Unia. Not the least of which is there's another continent named Irith. And then there's another one that was, I won't say lost, but it's just like nobody lives there. In Irith, that's where the old empire is from. But when the Maws happened, they stopped sending envoys there. They thought it was completely destroyed. So, I mean, it shook the whole world. No, what I like about Argus is because this is completely, it was on accident, but I wanted to call it Argus. But the way it started, I wanted to be based on an old gold mining town. The old gold mining town is in this area here. And it was spelled Argus because agriculture, residential, gold, utility, and stables. And that would be right there in the water. And eventually kind of became a bigger, working town. And they were able to do a lot of business. The general named Trelia wanted to buy that Argus. He didn't know about the gold in the ground, and they just laughed at him and said no. So he goes over here and starts building over here. Not too cool, you know what I mean? So they starts to, he has more money, so the first thing he does is bridge this and make like more luxurious stuff. More comfortable bedding and things like that. And they've been more established, whatever. But one thing that no one knows is they've got so much gold here. Now they've been cut off from the empire that if they were to release it, as much gold as they have down there, gold would be worthless. Now, if you combine it with what's in the empire, or if you keep your mouth shut about how much is there, suddenly you're basically the silent empire. And so that's what they're doing. They're hiring, like, if you're gonna be part of the group, it's not like one of those lush things like Optiton, such and such the third. No, you're gonna put time in the mine, and what they're doing is chiseling the dirt off. So basically, when you go in the mine, instead of seeing tunnels of dirt and bits of gold, it's tunnels of gold that have been cleaned out. They just clean the dirt off the ore, and so they chisel out enough that, like, if some gold is lost, or if they lose bets, whatever, they bring out enough to. A boat sinks with 50 crowns on it, which would be 50,000. No, 5,000. I don't know. It's either 5,000 or 50,000 gold. I would have to do the math. It's 100 gold per crown. Yeah. They just bring that much out from the mine and keep on going as if they didn't lose anything. They say that they claim that they recovered it, but the ship was beyond, no one ever thinks anything of it because, they have the finances to do it. They are rich, but that's what the people there, they decided to not live in Argus once it got connected across. They couldn't let it be known about how much gold was under here either. They eventually slid out and started the Citadels of Jessel. There were 9, I believe, generals, and they basically made contact with the dwarves. They were already, chiseling it, and so they paid for the stone. So it's got this very black stone. Like they all have very fairly matching. They did, although different architecture, is the same kind of stone that they're made out of. That came from the Bethriel Mountains. Yeah, Gyre's Harbor and Far Shores, where the goblins and orcs live. And the orcs that can get along and some are just kind of just wild and crazy with rage. Other ones are civilized enough to have a conversation with them, whatever. And they've taken to liking the way that humans live. They call them the Dremna, to distinguish between the orcs that will just cut your fucking throat. And this is basically what he said in the book to what I said in the book. It's like if you see an orc dressed for dinner and not for battle, that's a Dremna. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're just calm and they're just people, you know, but they're orcs, you know. And so yeah, they will come through the Dremna Sea to, whereas the other ones will come right across, you know, and attack from these ways. If they're peaceful, they come this way. They know it's a longer way, but they come that way, so that you know that they. I mean, I don't mean any fucking harm. I cross the Dremna Sea like you're supposed to. I get why we can tear your whole fucking town apart, man. We get pretty wild. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got drifted up into Argus. Oh yeah, smoking pot. I was smoking pot and got stoned. And I always go to Unia when you know, I mean, it's just like, oh, it's such a vacation away from this fucking place. It's got its own history and story, you know what I mean? And it's got nothing to do with, it's got, I mean, a future that's kind of unknown, but somewhat loosely sketched. Like, it goes out to, like, the fucking third millennium. Like, the third era is the start of basically, like, medieval time for us. Um, Irith is either known or it becomes known that it's there, and so then they both Irith and Unia start seeking out if there's any other islands out there, any other continents out there, especially if there's any that are uninhabited at all. The fucked up thing is that the humans have been fighting for because they had Argus, and so they assumed, and they moved. Some that didn't like it moved up to the Northic area where the dwarves were already in the here. They were all the humans are from Irith. This was the land for orcs, elves. Elves were from Creed and from Wrestling, and Bureau was kind of like empty. I mean, there was woods and shit all around this area, but they really didn't settle this area at all. They were settling. I mean, as you look at it, it's a huge area. I mean, look how big Morrington is. That's the whole town. Probably about like 100 people, maybe. You know, it just is around this little area around the lake, and it's a pretty big lake. Because like I said, as you zoom in, like the entire town is about within that speck, and then you look at the size of Argus compared. It's fucking huge, you know. And then same with Vaja. It's a city of the high elves. It's made out of the wilderness itself. So it's like a city in the middle of the woods. Creed is like where not the town, the wood elves. They're from here in Therawell. Eventually, the humans kind of basically unintentionally run the elves out of Vaja because there's so many of these small towns. This is like the hunting grounds here, and this right here, the hunting grounds for the Dane. And with the humans moving in from it, you know, I mean, all these different areas, it's scaring away there, and so they have to move to Creed, and they move to Hearthglow, and you know, they always thought themselves better than the wood elves, but you know, basically when they needed a place to stay that was just elvish, they gave them a place to build their own city, you know, and so they don't look down on them as much anymore. Yeah, Tertiary. That's a word that Shuna learned from his dad, who was an elf, and his mom was human, and it means basically precious baby. It was almost his name, but his dad would not let him, you know, let her name him that. Um, they told him that she died in childbirth, but the truth is that the parents, when they thought it was just, you know, there's a big war between elves and humans. They thought, you know, whatever the breakup, when they came back and had a child, they lost their shit and attacked, and so they wanted to kill both of them. They killed the daughter, and the dad killed both of them. And so, I mean, it was shortly after Shuna was born, and so rather than tell him, I had to murder your grandparents is basically, because they murdered your mom. Just said she died in childbirth. That would be, they thought it'd be easier on him, but of course you blame yourself for that. They didn't think about that, but they figured that'd be better than when you're being selfish. You don't want. I'll explain to you that I did. I will tell you later. For right now, your mom died in childbirth. No one's fault. The way he sees it, no one's fault. And you definitely shouldn't hate your grandparents for killing. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't hate me for killing them. That's pretty heavy to do on a kid. But I'll put that off for another time and talk to you about it. And he does. He talks to him about it and tells him what happens, really. But after coming through like the maze there's like, if you can imagine, there's the thick bramble type stuff all the way out here. After making your way through the maze areas in this area, as you get into this area, the bottleneck is in this area here. And there's like if you can't get it, you can't get admittance to the Underwoods. They'll open up, but you're not sent away either. There's a door that opens up. It looks like it's part of the woods or whatever, but it opens up and there's a path that leads from here to Tertian. And Tertian is just basically kind of like a clearing in the brambles. It's still within the brambles here, so they're not going to get attacked, but it's also not inside the Underwoods. But you can basically just go there and just hang out. You're a druggie who just wants to just do drugs and hang out, just fucking, yeah. But you're not coming in the Underwoods. But you're also not hurting anybody. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're welcome to stay in Tertian. As long as you just need somewhere to be. You're an outcast of some sort. You're a mixed breed. You're whatever. As long as you're not starting shit, you're welcome to stay in Tertian. Yeah. Yeah, this is the main character's hand-drawn map. And so it's kind of held in a copy of it is held in the library and put into the different, like there's the I want to have the library edition, the Argus library edition, which will be a hardback book, and I want to take all the spelling errors out, and then I want to do like a paperback one that's like a small, looks like it's gonna be, it looks leather bound, and I want to have like a strap on it. See if I've got one. I have a book. Yeah, I have to show it. It should look kind of like a personal diary, but I want it to be. It looks leather. The cover, it's paper, but it looks like it's leather bound, so it's a paperback, and it should be like the student kind of edition. It also has all the words and misspellings cleaned up. But the one that he made, the way it's supposed to look, I have some crazy ideas for how to make it work. Basically, the map interacts with the book in the story. What he did was he took two pieces of earth and wood, URTHEN, and smashed them together. And when he did, the name was printed on the book, and the page started rising. The book started rising, and it was wispy pages that they bound themselves to the spine. And so it's the earth and wood covers on both sides, and then when he opens it up, and then when he uses his own map and to read the book, it's like all the letters and words are stacked on top of each other because they're on a clear cloud. Basically, it's just this clear paper. It's just the words are sitting there, and he uses the map, and it kind of rises up and puts the map in there, and it lays itself back down. You can read everything because he put the back of the map, which is just looks like a parchment paper, and then the words lay themselves across there, and you can see it, and then he takes it out, and then the next page goes. It's like an intelligent book, and I figured out a way to make it actually work like that too. Magnets, real small, fairly weak magnets, but as the edge, like they're designed to stack together. They're like laminates, and in the corners they have those. And the map has another one that's got the reverse polarity. If you have the front side is matching, they'll attract. If you flip it over to the back side, they'll repel. So as it gets close, the magnets are stacked so that the papers don't really move from each other. And so, like I said, it looks like you're looking at all the clear papers. But as the other magnet gets close, it repels that one because they're weak. It repels it, causes it to stand up, and you slide the page in, and you let go, and then it just lays itself back down. then you take it out, and it rises up as you take it out, and then you flip that page over, and then you go to the next page, and it raises itself up the force rejects it, and then causes it to stand up. You still have the map in there. I wanted to print several of those, like I wanted to print 150, and have like the first 50 go out, like $50 each, and then hope that it's an interesting thing that really catches on a bit, and so like the next batch goes out at 100 each, and then the last batch of 50 go out and they're 150 each. So if you get in early, you can get one of the first 50. Yeah. There's only gonna be 150 of those made though, and I want the misspellings and everything that I have from my book from the way it is right now. Yeah, I was talking to my uncle about the Keep Christerian, and I was explaining to him about the challenge, about the I don't know if I explained about the challenge, but everybody in Unia has in their right hand they have that. You can't see it there, super bright. That M, the set, yeah, there, right there. The three sevens. Can you see the three sevens? There's two sevens cut by crossing each other, and then there's one in the middle down there. It's a third seven right there. It looks like an M, but everybody has that. It's from being the tactility in the womb. The people that are from the zero era, they were just more NPC. They didn't really do a lot, so they didn't have to bend as much, and so they have lines, but they're not as deep, nor do they cross like this because they didn't have as much tactility for art and stuff. They were just kind of just moving blocks, you know what I mean, and building the cities and just hacking, carrying a big old pickaxe. You don't really need to do a fine tight grip on that. You just have to be able to grip, so you would have some, but not as deep or crossing. And then the next people that came around the first era, there's more thinking going on, and they became dominant in one hand, which this one doesn't crease as much, but this one's kind of like and holds a bit tighter. So when it's got all the creases from that, and so they got one in the right hand, or you might have if you're left hand, you have one in the left hand and not one in your right hand. For sorting purposes, these would basically be like advanced NPCs. They have AI where they can come up with their own language and talk, whatever, but they're still within the program. You know what I mean? They're not outside of it at all. Whereas if you have if you have both of them, you'd be considered a two. Those are more like clerics, truth seers. I mean, you can be a one and be a cleric, but if you want to be like a truth seer, you'd have to be a two. You just see the world kind of the way it is. You see it better. You don't. I mean, you don't see it perfectly, but you see it better. Yeah, you're a step or two above an NPC. You're not like a really truly enlightened being. I mean, or anything like that. You're not a deity. There are deities that are running around, because like I said, there's each time it starts over, there's a deity war, and nobody really dies, but they fight to tell God a story, and each one finds their strength equal to the strength of their story that they want to tell. So one by one, they start fighting each other and doing different, whatever, joining up in different alliances and stuff, and then eventually, and it keeps going. And like, depending on how I feel, like if I wanted to start the whole thing over again after everything runs in Unia the way it is, because Unia Shamnis presented God with the idea for Unia, and it was the best idea that made it out. So yeah, I mean, if I wanted to start the whole thing over from ground zero, it could start with the whole thing, like the way it came and went. It kind of explains what happened there, and so after reading that, I could just start it almost the same way. It's basically telling, oh, and this is his name, and basically the same thing for the intro. The only thing I know is like, and they kind of explain what happens, and it's the same thing each time. It's just like you're going to tell a different story. There's a galaxy up for grabs. Who wants to tell their story? Who has the best story? Well, prove it. Get out there and fight. and or form alliances and work with other people that can help you get your vision across. You know, you have to compromise a bit, but it might be have to come down to end like a 5 versus 2 type thing. Why they have to fight? I don't know. Why not? They don't die. While they are kind of killed in combat, it's just more like they're put to sleep. You know what I mean? Because they've already, like I said, I pictured what happens after Revelation 22. Not like Revelation 23, but like a whole, almost like a whole new book. What happened? What happens after? And I'm not trying to pretend to write that. I'm just saying, this is my imagination of what happens. Those 144,000 that make it out, these are the deities. They're not God. One of the things God does when he first shows up is he just strikes his fist into the fucking his chair and everybody drops dead. And then he raises his hand and rises everybody up, and everybody remembers exactly what happened, even though they went dead. They remember being dead, and they're like, "Can any of you do that?" And everybody's like, "No." And it's like, "Okay, so we don't have to fight about that." And they're like, "Yeah, no." All right, who wants to tell me a story? We're good. I mean, if anyone wants to step up right now and challenge that, we can challenge that right now. No? Okay, let's do. Who wants to tell me a story? That's what I'm bringing. I can kill you by hitting my fucking chair like that, and you just drop fucking dead right in front of me, and you remember it when I resurrect your ass. Anyone else? No? No? Okay. Well, you'll find that your weapons. Why? Because I want to do it this way. You'll find your weapons and your strength are equal to your story. Let's see how good of a story you guys can tell. And go. I mean, Shuna was one of the ones that kind of was put out. He was taken out pretty early. But after Shamnis tells her plan to God about Unia, he calls Shamnis from the. I mean, he calls Shuna from the like where he got just completely like smashed with this hammer called Braun, and he's just under this rubble, and he just kind of basically stands up and comes to, he gives over, and he's like, she forgot something, go fix it, and she's about to get mad and like, what? And he's like, he looks at her like, I've looked at you've told me your idea, you forgot something, I sent him to fix it, how do I know? Who are you fucking talking to? And before he gets there, he just gets the look, and she's like, yeah, yeah. And that's how Shuna, because Argus, when it collapsed without Shuna there to bring the city back, it wouldn't happen. I came with all that later. The whole, that he was just a guy. But I also want, like I said, when I was telling his story, I wanted to show like how you are originally kind of telling your own story, then other people start telling your story, and then the last thing that's left to be told about you is this cold, stony monument, an obituary, basically only listing all your good shit, you know? And that's how we treat almost all of them that do good things. It's basically we can't handle that they were human. That's on us, that's not on them. But we really can't handle that our heroes are human. It's like we need someone above us so that it can prove that someone can do it and there's someone better, that, you know what I mean, that they're better than us. But then at the same time, that pisses us off eventually. Like, you're not really better than us. You're just another person. So then we tear them down when they didn't want to be thrown up that high anyways. I'm sure with enough time, the cock rockers probably would have came back. You know what I mean? With like, because I mean, you want to play, and your crowds were there. Now they're all gone, and for too long, you stick with you root into the whole cock rock type mentality, and really start working on getting better at it and crafting, honing your craft. Maybe singing about deeper subjects, but still, um, you know, cock rocky. And then, well, you know that he can't even play the guitar or sing very well. Like, yeah, I know we like it, but you will get like some Bill Burr type people that are gonna be like, yeah, yeah. Where's Whitesnake? I still want to hear some Whitesnake. Give me some AC/DC. Give me some shit. You know what I mean? Metallica. Give me some of that shit, dude. I mean, it's Black Album. It's probably like their last really good album, and even that wasn't like really good. It was really well mixed, and I mean, I can't really bag on it. it wasn't really very Metallica, which was a cool departure because I mean so many of their albums were, just like Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, and Justice for All. I think Injustice for All might have been the one because they were dealing with Cliff Burton's death that they might have kind of birthed the whole metal doesn't have bass. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of metal just has no bass. Listen to like Pantera. There's not a whole lot. I mean, you can hear the bass, but it's very thin. And I think, especially as groovy as the music is, I think if they would have done more to give the kick and whatever some more punch and the bass, I would love to remix it. Oh my god, I wish I could remix their shit. It's good for like metal systems because it just people that listen to that kind of music usually aren't really worried about the bass too much, but I am. I love the bass is the one that really moves the speaker and really sends out like the pushes of air and stuff. Oh, I love when these guys start pumping, like especially when I got the kick drum hitting right. It's not clipping, but it's hitting so hard it just starts pushing air. It's like a wind blowing in from both directions, like a fan. It's awesome. And you can feel the air, like literally just like you're doing like that. It's so cool. It's so fucking loud and so clear. Oh, I love it. Speaking of, I need to check and see if I have the room correction on those. Because I think I mixed one of the songs with the room correction on those and with whatever. I meant to put the room correction on, try it without that and see how that mix turned out. Compared to the ARC without, and the ARC, the speaker room correction built in versus the ARC room correction. I want to see which one was more accurate. I think I fucked up though on my last mixes. I think I forgot to switch it over. Yeah, that I just suck. I don't have any kind of like really good I mean, that's what I'm trying to work on is getting like a good solid results. I mean, right now it's very if or. I have my certain tools I know for sure I'll get a good results out of, but I don't want to just be stuck with those. Holy shit, it's been an hour? Dude, I am the talking king. You guys ain't got shit on me. Godzilla ain't got shit on me. King Kong, he's got shit on me, but Godzilla. There's already instances Studio 1 running. Is there? Where? I don't see it. Probably just an instance it didn't close out. Sorry if you black screened you there. Oh, there you are. Can we switch to? Go to? No, just end task. I don't even know why you're open, dude. You shouldn't be open, dude. So anyway, that saves me from opening that up, and I also won't try to open up. Oh wow! So this is using OBS is using 3 gigs of RAM, and Studio One is using 1.5 gigs of RAM, and I'm at 25% and 16% CPU. And there's so much shit going on, and the GPU is only at 10%. 2 monitors and streaming video. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I think I'm set. I'm thinking my whole studio's set. They came out with that, just like I said, the sale ended, and they came out with the new T-Rex. I could do that, couldn't I? They came with the new T-Rex. Not T-Rex, Total Studio Max. That's what I was trying to say. But face got stupid. So I said stupid stuff. I hope it doesn't mess with this. I shouldn't. Let me try not ARC. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Did I not put this? Yeah, there you are, T-Rex 5. It looks too much like Amplitude. The color scheme is... They need to change that up. Or something. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just complaining for no reason. That's been known to happen. Let's take a quick look at T-Rex whilst we are here. Take a look. Monster 2. Alright, so let's bring in a song. Gonna go to. There's a Live and Well acoustic remix, Sienna pre-master. Okay, I'll check that one. Because it says Sienna mix pre-master. I'm guessing it is specifically meant to be mastered. And see if I have another one. Acoustic remix, Truth pre-master. Alive and Well Truth pre-master. Okay, so I got two that are designed so I can show them off. Oh, I got I Know pre-mastered. Nice. I forgot about Dirty Leg mix and the Clean Leg mix of Willow Tree. Dirty Leg. That's so funny. Tosh point oh. Come on, Dirty Leg. I like it. I think it's funny, man. That's fucking hilarious. I'm not an apple picker. What if you're picking apples? I'm still not an apple picker. I'm still not an apple picker. I have to agree with him, though. What are you doing? Something's wrong there. Audio settings. No. Oh, really? You couldn't initialize ASIO, huh? Schmergen Pergen? I guess I'm just going to have to sit here and moan. Guess I'll get real stoned. No. I wonder if my drums are working. Well, can I play those right now? I kind of want to play some of that shit. I got some songs that I can play along to. Let's see. Yeah, desktop. Where's my BFT? Is it in here? No, it's 52. Where's 53? See if I can close this right there. Minimize. This one is what I want to do. Can I minimize you? No. Why you? Why you take up the whole screen? Huh. That's weird. I guess it's just shutting down stuff right now. No, it's like, dude, just chill. What time is it anyways? 11:11. Make a wish. Make a wish. Ham bone. Oh my God. So, what are we doing today? Are we going away? Are we going to stay? Certainly the danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they certainly aren't showing any signs that they are slowing. Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. Got that to shut down. Sweet home, stupid program. I made you do what I do. Okay, so that's working. Put that over here. Now, let's find one of the songs that has no drums. Oh, I've got My Dear, but I think that one's hard to do. Let's do Quinn Rose. That has no drums. Make sure that everything's connected over here before I do something stupid. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and get a brush kit so it's not as intense. Let me see if I can get the beat to play, and I'll try and start the song. Grooves. It is in the heart. I just gotta set the levels and then I'll be done. much shut the fuck up.
Please come on. You don't have to say so with me. My road. Please come on. I've waited so long to call you mine. I know, but the past is gone. The future is way too soon. You can go with me if you just come home. Please come on. I cried, almost died when I saw you alone. I know, but the past is gone. The future is always unknown. You can come with me if you just come home. Please come. I guess I'll sit here alone. I guess I'll get real slow. I guess I'll just die alone without a roof of my own. But the past is gone. The future is way too slow. You can come with me if you just come home. You're just like me. Another fire came down from heaven. I was drowning in your tears. I feel your breath upon my head, and I'm praying for you, my dear. And long way from here to where you stay, I count the stones turning ashen gray, and wander on alone. From here, I see the answer beneath the brown gold. The taste of death is on my breath. At least that's what I'm told. And long way from here to where you stay, I count the stones turning on gray, and I wander on alone. Another fire came down from heaven, and I'm drowning in your tears. The words I say just melt away, but I'm praying for you, my dear.
That always trips me out because they recorded it. That was a actual sample of the session. So after that cymbal had hit, if you hit at the right velocities, if it go the older packs especially, if it goes on for a long time, unless you trim it out, they'll have those in there. I'm sorry, or it's just something. If you hit at the right velocity, it's not on all of them because each velocity is a different one. So I wonder if have I played Disciple before? I don't know. Some old ass Psycho. On a Gray and Winter Day. I like this song a lot. It's a bit like long, but that would be Dirt Clod Fight. I like Dirt Clod Fight. I've liked Dirt Clod Fight for quite some time. Lots of vitamin smell. So, why aren't you out partying tonight? Party like it's 1999. You can at least rock down Electric Avenue. Maybe take it higher. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Take it higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll do it on the day. Alright, so I'm going to do like a quick 3-player of Geardma. From the Geardma. From the Geardma album of Geardmas. It's one of those albums. Or maybe there's a couple of them, I don't know. Oh, I think that's about my time, man. We got 1 hour and 56 minutes. I can hang in for 4 more minutes. Could do another song. I could bullshit about shit. I don't know. I got 4 more minutes in me. Let's see. Let's find a good tune to listen to. I do like that one. What was that? 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Probably perfect.
Hands of the clock slip, bodies shock. Somebody save me. Once in the box, nobody talks except for the praying. Burn it to the ground. Just burn it down. My body's tired of thoughts expired who suffer dying. Hard as I may, it's just giving away. No sense in trying. Burn it to the ground. Burn it
Lucky. 2 hours and 13 seconds. Isn't that something to talk about? Yeah. Have a nice night.